Shot placement is an incredibly critical aspect of threat engagements and can help strategically incapacitate a threat. We will be going over how officers decide where they want shots to land on a threat and under which conditions. Today, we'll be using Ready or Not to help demonstrate this concept. There are three main target areas we are taught to aim for when training for shot placement: the torso, the pelvis, and the head. Let's go through some of the reasons we target these areas and scenarios they'd be used in. First, the torso. Let me first start off by saying that we are taught to stop the threat, not to kill. Killing is not our intent when engaging in lethal force. The reason we are taught to aim for the torso, or center of mass, is due to the fact that it's a large target area with vital organs which, when hit, can cause a person to go from the fight to flight response pretty quick. Your body is naturally inclined to attempt to protect that soft spongy stuff below your clavicles, so when you're hit in this area, the natural reaction is to protect yourself in one way or another. Especially whenever the liver is hit, your body essentially shuts down. Take a look at this boxer keeling over after one shot to the body. That's his liver telling him, "Holy crap, dude, we're dying." Then we have the descending aorta, the intestines, and obviously the heart that, if and when hit, will cause the body to shut down in a matter of seconds. As I mentioned, the torso is a large area, allowing for rounds to make it on target with a smaller risk of overpenetration. When engaging a threat, we must follow the basic firearm rules, including knowing your target and what's behind it. Equally, in life or death scenarios, you don't want to be targeting the legs or arms of a suspect, as many armchair redditors will tell you cops should aim at, for multiple reasons. Primarily, the legs and arms are incredibly small targets, especially at a distance, and become exponentially difficult to hit when moving. As officers, we are accountable for every single shot we take, and if we fire at a limb and miss, wherever that bullet ends up, we are responsible, especially if that results in an injury or death of an innocent bystander. It's hard to stop the killing or stop the dying if we are part of the problem. Secondarily to that, the legs are really not a less lethal option to shoot at. Take a look at the femoral artery that runs down from the pelvic girdle. If this is severed, you will bleed out in a matter of 2 to 3 minutes. Even if you get a tourniquet on the leg, the artery has a possibility to retract up into the pelvis, making that tourniquet ineffective. At that point, you would need the assistance of a SAM junctional tourniquet in order to apply pressure to the inguinal area, which is not commonly carried by LEOs, which are generally the first people to provide treatment following a shooting. Speaking of which, we've arrived at our secondary area for shot placement, the pelvis. The pelvis is a bit of an odd duck. It doesn't make a ton of sense as to why we'd consider this at all, but once again, when you look at the human anatomy, everything starts to fall into place. And I don't mean aiming at the pelvis just so you can shoot someone's Johnson off. I promise there's a method to the madness. Looking at the pelvis, we have the descending aorta, which leads to the abdominal aorta, which then truncates the femoral arteries that lead down your legs. As we said before, if these arteries are hit, you are likely to bleed out pretty dang fast. Well, what's the big idea? Are we just trying to exsanguinate people on purpose? No, obviously not. We aim at the pelvis for two main reasons. One, a person we believe to be under the influence of an illicit drug, or two, something that is becoming more common, a person that is wearing body armor. For a person that is under the influence of an illicit drug such as PCP, it can cause them to disassociate from themselves, making the pain from the torso shots ineffective. Now, to understand this, let's take a quick deep dive. PCP is considered an NMDA receptor antagonist. NMDA receptors exist in your body to regulate your breathing, locomotion, learning, memory formation, neuroplasticity, and most important in our case, the pain cascade. When PCP enters the system, it attaches to the NMDA receptors and prevents them from being activated, causing a state of delirium and the inability to perceive pain. The reason why pelvic shots work for people in this case falls back on anatomy again. If we want to stop someone from being a threat, especially a person that can't even feel pain, preventing them from walking is a pretty good first step, no pun intended. If we are able to land a shot into the pelvis, it will destabilize the entire pelvic girdle, which can cause the femur to fall out of socket and be completely unusable, meaning no more walkies. And if you can't walk, well, you're much less of a threat than you were before. Now, for body armor, if we can visibly see them wearing something like a plate carrier, the likelihood of them having protection around their pelvis is incredibly low. Some people have those groin hangers, which is all well and good, but ultimately we could still cause blunt force trauma to the pelvis, possibly damaging it in the process. Hitting these exposed and vital areas of the body has the same effect as before, especially when the subject can feel pain. Now, on to the head. Again, let me reiterate, we are not seeking to kill, but to stop the threat. The head is not a primary area for shot placement, but it's one we need to train for, especially for something like hostage situations. In this instance, we are placed into a pretty tough spot. The suspect has taken someone hostage and is hidden their body behind them. While the torso and pelvis are out, the legs and arms even more so. All we have left generally in these scenarios is the head. Now, obviously the head when hit with a fast moving object has a lot of finality to it, but when that's the only option we have, we need to take it. I can hear it in the comments that there's so many other options and how us coppers are only looking to get into shootings and blah blah blah. Look, there are a lot of less lethal options available. The instances I'm referring to here are when lethal force is authorized and obviously necessary for the preservation of human life. Now for some housekeeping. Alright, a small little PSA, I am sorry for the leave of absence. I've been doing a lot of work. I'm starting a new degree plan and tending to familial needs outside of YouTube, and while I love making videos, my family will always come first. My 1.0 video should be coming out here soon, and as I've mentioned before, I've been working on a Ready or Not full lore video, so please stay tuned. Also, I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but we actually passed 10,000 subscribers, and I can't thank y'all enough. I started posting almost 2 years ago now, and I've had so much support and love, I'm just not sure where to begin. In light of that fact, I'll be doing another AMA, so please use the Google form in the description to submit a question. Thank you again to all of you. It means the most. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And as always, remember our sole objectives. Stop the killing, stop the dying. I'll see y'all later.